Hi everyone, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here with my Pop Chat special on Better Man. This is such an interesting one, and I have to say I've been on a little bit of a journey myself. So, obviously being from the UK, obvious, I know, my voice gives it away. And the age I am, I'm the same age as Robbie, by the way. So he was the youngest in the band, just pointing that out. Yeah, I grew up obviously with the boy band that he was in, Take That, and his solo career. I've seen Take That in concert. I've seen Robbie in concert. Unfortunately, I couldn't get tickets to Nebworth, which will always bug me. But I did see the same tour that he performed at Nebworth, and it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, so up front, biased, big Take That, big Robbie Williams fan. However, I will say, this is why I've been like, I don't like musicals. So the fact this is by the guy who done The Greatest Showman, go see Greatest Showman or Wicked. I'd rather stick pins in my eyes. I'd literally be in the ninth circle of hell having to watch those kind of things. So initially, when I saw this sort of came out, I was a bit like, oh no, I don't really do musicals, and yeah, the monkey, and I was like, and I must admit, I went, I saw this trailer in cinema last year, and I knew nothing about it, and then I was like, kind of watching it going, hang on, that's meant to be about Robbie, and it's a monkey. Why is it a monkey? Why is it a monkey? And I was like, why is it a monkey? And I'm like, performing monkey, get it? And it seems with lots of people, and I get it that it's completely explained to you at the start of the film, but there's a few people who keep saying this who have seen the film multiple times. Yes, you, Chris Gore, Melanie, I will explain it to you, right? So right at the very start of the film, he basically does this little monologue and says like who is Robbie Williams? I've been described as a narcissist, someone you want to punch in the face, this, that, and the other thing. But this is how I see myself. So he basically sees himself as a performing monkey. But this is how he sees himself. So everybody else in the movie sees him as Robbie the person. Hence why the monkey thing is never brought up, because they're seeing Robbie the person. We're seeing Robbie as Robbie sees himself, i.e., a performing monkey. Clear? Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so. It's pretty obvious when he explains it. And I even clicked watching the trailer going, oh, he's a performing monkey. I get it. And then there's another level of monkey when obviously this film gets into his drug addiction, and obviously having a monkey on your back and all of that. So you can have it on like kind of two levels there. So I really had no plans to go see this. As I said, I really love the music of Robbie Williams. He has been known to be a bit of a twat over the years, and you kind of, watch his career, but his heart's in the right place kind of thing, bless him. And then the reviews started coming out, and it just kept, I haven't seen anybody that's seen this that said this is a bad film. And then obviously some clips started coming out. And then when I thought about it, I go, yeah, I don't like musicals, but obviously I do like Take That, and I do like Robbie. So that the music that's in it is going to be the music that I like, right? So why not? Why not? And I really wanted to go before it leaves the cinema. As you can hear, I am absolutely full of colds. Don't stop. Wait to go watch it. And it's an amazing film. And just before I get into it, the other thing, the reason why I didn't want to go watch this was, I think it was last year, there was a documentary on Netflix here in the UK. I don't know if it's on American Netflix, with Robbie, basically kind of doing his life story. And it's like old videos, and he's watching videos and telling you how he felt about things at the time and what was actually going on with him. And it's okay. But you just kind of walk away from that documentary And I think people feeling how they've always felt a bit about Robbie, and it's kind of a superficial level, that everybody just looks at him and goes, he's always very much, he's this multi-millionaire, he's got the job he's always wanted with the success he's always wanted, and boo-hoo, I'm depressed and miserable. And most ordinary people kind of look at that and go, and I watched this Netflix documentary, and again I just kind of walked away from that kind of going, it's just a bit of a whinging twat, isn't he? Oh, boo-hoo me, my life's so hard because I'm a multi-millionaire, boo-hoo me. And that still came across in his documentary that he did. So I was a bit like, I don't really want to see a film of Robbie just feeling sorry for himself because his life was so hard because he got everything he ever wanted. And I think because of that, though, I think it took somebody maybe of the talent that the director is, that done The Greatest Showman. And again, not my cup of tea, but I know how huge it is and how much everybody loves that freaking film. But to pull out to really pull out and drive home the salient points of what broke Robbie. Right, because he can't do it himself. Every time he tells a story, you just go, "You ungrateful twat." you do. Honestly, go. I hope that documentary is on Netflix in the States. Go watch it. And I think watching this, and then I'm going to rewatch it again and see if I take different things from it. But he just never, you never really got what his problem was. It just always came across like he just felt a bit sorry for himself. Couldn't hang out with his mates anymore, and had no privacy. And we're with famous persons like that, but other people, Gary Barlow seems to cope, and so really just seeing all the posts on X and reviews on channels, including Film Threat, who just said this film's actually really good, and even Gary likes it, who I know, Gary Beekler, Nerd shout out. I know hates musicals as well, said no, this is a good film. And I think that was the tipping point where I thought, yeah, because I know like Gary hates them as much as I do. So right, all that aside, so it's a really good film. It's I mean, obviously, yes, I did love all the music, and I was sort of sitting there like, let's see, but it's a surprisingly deep film. It's heartwarming, heartbreaking. There's at least 3 parts of the film where you have a lump in your throat, if not crying. And it's just done so well. And again, like everybody said, I guess probably as a Brit, you're kind of sitting there watching it, and even though it's a monkey, you do see Robbie. And it's kind of hard to explain because obviously it has Robbie's voice and he's doing the narration and it has his mannerisms. So you are watching Robbie, even though it's a monkey. It's quite hard to explain as a Brit because, especially when you've grown up with him, you do kind of see it. But again, very quickly, you kind of just forget that it's a monkey and it's not weird anymore, that he's this performing monkey. And it starts off with his life in a Midlands town here in the UK called Stoke-on-Trent. It's not a particularly affluent area. I've lived up there. I'm from the south, but I lived up in this little place called Newcastle-under-Lyme, which is literally next door to Stoke. It's the posh part of Stoke, basically. And I lived on the same housing estate that Robbie's mum moved to once he made money. So I lived in quite a nice area. And everybody has a story about Robbie, where they went to school with him. I mean, I have the story not about Robbie, but there was a bar in Newcastle called Blakey's that's no longer with us, unfortunately. But it was open for about 42 years. Great little bar, and his dad would often be in there. And unfortunately, there'd always be like really young girls like hanging off his dad, hoping to meet Robbie. It was all a bit cringe, but he's in there, and that's kind of like my Robbie story. I've got a friend who'd gone into a pub at Christmas, and Robbie was in there with Nicole and whatever. So most people in Stoke have a Robbie story, and it looks like it was actually filmed in Stoke. I think like Longton, it looked like. So it's very authentic. It starts off in the 80s when he's a little kid. And it really kind of just helps you build up this picture of why he wanted to be famous, why it was so important to be famous. And at the root of all of this is just, and I think why this film works, and I think a lot of Americans getting like, who's Robbie? Why do I care? It's even not really about him being a pop star or any of that. It's just a very human film. There's lots of things in it you can relate to as a human being. You know, his dad walked out on his mum. They were estranged for a long time. And, you know, if you're in any kind of broken family and you've been through that, you know what impact that has on you as a kid, and trying to constantly, you know, want to live up to their expectations. You want them to love you. They gone away because I wasn't good enough. And a lot of Robbie's underlying issues is his relationship with his dad, and that he wasn't good enough and he had to be famous, and how his dad brought him up about how fame would make you special and amazing, and it like the worst thing you could be is a nobody. And you know, the relationship that he has with his mum and his nan is absolutely beautiful, and it's heartbreaking when his nan passes away. And they kind of so they go through this whole journey, and Robbie sort of narrates over the top of it, and sort of telling you little bits and bobs. But, you know, right through, so him joining the band, take that at 15 years old. He'd failed all these exams at school, didn't know how to tell his mum. He was just sort of heading for the dole line or crying or something. You know, he wasn't heading in a good direction, and he got into this band. Originally, the band was kind of aimed at the gay scene. So like 15, 16 years old, he's in all these gay clubs, being exposed to very adult environments. And then one night their manager happened to book a club just full of women. And of course they all go bonkers because these are like 5 good looking lads, you know, all sort of between, I say, like 16 and 20 or something, or probably less than that, 19 maybe. And I have to say the casting of everybody in this was really, really good. As someone who grew up with the band, you could go, oh, that's Howard, that's Mark, that's Gary, you knew. And I have to say, how they got the jumper that Gary Barlow actually wore, because I've seen him on TV, like clips when he was younger wearing it, and it's the most hideous, like late 80s jumper you'll ever see in your life. That they got it. Maybe Gary gave it to them. I don't know, but and they do kind of. I mean, Robbie has said they toned down the script because in this country, it's very, very well known that there was a massive fallout when Robbie left the band with him and Gary, and Robbie hated Gary for a long, long time, and Robbie took it too far, really took the hatred too far, and he kind of touches on it, really talking about revenge and stuff, but he was like very, very, and I've watched interviews with Gary recently, it's well documented that, you know, they've mended bridges. They've made an album together as Take That Again. They went on tour, which I went to go see. It's absolutely amazing. But Gary said, like, I wasn't a very nice person back then, and I didn't look after Robbie. He was 15 years old, and all I was really interested in was me, my career, and moving on to my solo career. So he's been very honest. And what I really like, actually, is that I know Robbie did show Gary the script. Apparently, it was very harsh, and they've toned it back. And I think that's great, because it still gives the view that, you know, Robbie wasn't looked after at all. And Gary wasn't that nice to him, or kind of, you know, belittled him and his talents, but it wasn't over the top. And it could have been, but I like to think that Robbie values his friendship with Gary enough now. And like I say, he apparently did make some changes, and that's really good to know, that how much he values that friendship now. And it just goes on through leaving Take That and then building his own solo career. But the main crux of all this really is his descent into alcoholism, drug abuse, and obviously the effects that has on your relationships, your family. His girlfriend at the time, who was Nicole from All Saints, and it came out years later that just before the All Saints came really big in the UK, with Never Ever, she'd fallen pregnant with Robbie's baby. The record company basically pressurized her so much that they were going to throw out the band unless she had an abortion, and she did. And, you know, and their relationship never really recovered from that, and Robbie spiraled even more. So the real crux of all this is like this human being under all this fame, and how he, you know, made decisions for all the wrong reasons. Like I say, made decisions out of revenge, out of, you know, drug-fueled decisions, how he destroyed his relationships and the people he cared about. And then the more and more successful he got, the more and more unhappy he got. And he lost his best friend, Jonathan Wilkes, and they're best friends again now. But I mean, literally known him since school, because he said some really horrible things to him. And it's a proper, like it is a proper redemption story. But towards the end, obviously, his ultimate goal was paying net worth, because Oasis had paid net worth, and it's like, I think it's like 150,000 people, 200,000 people, something like that. And a lot of people. Look it up on YouTube. It is absolutely his, you know, it's the biggest gig in UK history so far, even now, I think. And after that, all he wanted to do was delete himself. He reached the thing he wanted to reach, and he sacrificed everything to get there. That was the thing. Out of revenge, he had to get here. And there's this amazing scene where he's performing the Nebworth concert, and all through the film, he keeps just sort of seeing images of his younger self going, you know, it's all about kind of imposter syndrome, going, but you're crap. Why are you up there? You're not worthy to be up there. Just delete yourself, right? Why? And he's haunted by this constant imposter syndrome. A lot of that's to do with his father and the relationship he has with his father. And there's and I don't want to spoil it, but I say you just see him literally slaying his demons. And there's a bit with his younger self, like you're introduced to it like 9 years old, I think, 9-10 years old. And I don't want to give it away, but there's this moment, and you're literally like, wow. Wow. It's pretty shocking. And I'm not, you know, it's like you just don't see that on screen. And then of course, you know, it's then his redemption arc, and him going into rehab, him building bridges with and it's just very, very small scenes, but him like building bridges with addicts on recovery do, you know, you're supposed to go on your apology tour, and, you know, all that kind of thing, and him rebuilding his life, and thankfully not dying really, because he was, you know, I mean, the thing, you never see him OD. I mean, how he never OD'd, maybe he did OD, I don't know, but they've left that out. But he was taking a shit ton of drugs, drinking like 2 liters of vodka a day. It's amazing this guy's still alive and was able to perform. I mean, it's when you see all these greats who spiral into either alcoholism or drug addiction, you stick them on stage and they can like still perform, apart from Amy, bless her, is absolutely phenomenal. So this, I say, all of this is like, you don't have to like Robbie's music or even him as a person. It's a really human story of relationships and your family, and kind of working out what's important and what's not important, you know. And it's a beautiful film. It's an absolutely beautiful film. It very touching. And as I say, for the first time in my life, I can sit there and have a little bit of empathy for Robbie, going, do you know what? When he kept saying, "Oh, I had all this and I'm not happy," I kind of finally get it, because when he talks about it, he just comes, like I said, comes across as a bit of an ungrateful twat. You watch this film and you're like, I get it, and that's an amazing feat, I think, by the director, the screenwriter, that managed to pull out of Robbie the human element. It finally sort of stripped back this kind of showman and really got to the human element of why this guy's life looks so perfect on the surface and was such a fuck up underneath. It's a very, and that's why I'm actually kind of blown away that I actually walked away from this feeling sorry for Robbie, and I never ever thought I would. As much as I really love him as an artist, I think as a person he's a bit of an arsehole, a grateful arsehole. And I can look at him in a new light after watching this film. And you know, but what I will say is, you don't come away from it like pitying the guy or boo-hoo Robbie, he had such a hard life. It's got that perfect balance where it gives you empathy. I had empathy for him that I didn't have before, but he's also very I made the bad choices. it's because he's always been a little bit, oh, feel sorry for me. And then this film, it doesn't. It's very much accountability. Very much accountability of him saying, I made some really bad choices here. And I done this out of all the wrong reasons, all the wrong drivers. And this is where it took me. So this is definitely a recommend for me. I will be getting this on 4K as soon as it comes out. And like a few people say, it's one of those, like, you kind of walk out and you go, I could watch that again right now, which I'm shocked because I don't do musicals. Granted, I do like the music. So the songs that I like are there, and I could sort of not sing along in the cinema, but I could mouth the lyrics along. I'm sort of going, yeah. And I will dig out my Robbie songs. They're already on a playlist on my phone, and it's great. It's a very clever film. Basically a human story. So who can't relate to a human story? You don't have to have a clue who Take That are. You don't even have a clue who Robbie Williams is. It's going to be a completely made up fictional story at the end of the day. And that's why you can enjoy it, because it's just about human emotions, human relationships. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really didn't know what to expect, other than I heard it's good. And I am pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. And now I feel a bit like everybody else that's seen it. You feel a bit sad that it's not doing better, because it is such a good film. I think my prediction is, though, when it hits VOD and physical media, I think this will be huge on VOD. Like the Greatest Showman people will find it, all of that. I think it will be huge. It is such a good film. And like I say, you don't need to know anything about this dude. Just go in and watch it as a human story, or monkey story, whatever you want to call it. There's some beautifully touching pieces in it, wonderfully put together. Obviously, the CGI of Robbie the monkey is phenomenal. The cinematography and the whole Regent Street bit that I know has been online to explain for anybody who's American. So the whole bit is they basically get signed by the record deal, and as they're dancing through Regent Street and Piccadilly and all of that, and they're changing costumes, that's basically showing the Take That career. So it sort of starts off with them at the Brits doing the Beatles, then Take That and party outfits, then they're doing Back for Good outfits, and it's basically all of that. So it's basically just showing the evolution. So they sort of cover his period in Take That and this one scene to rock DJ through Regent Street and Piccadilly, which is so clever. It's like, so again, if you know the history of the band, you can watch that and go, wow, not only is that an amazing performance, the most choreography you'll ever see, they've just charted 5 years of a band in about 3 minutes doing a song, 4 minutes doing a song. Very, very clever. But if you don't know that, you can just enjoy it as a bit of visual entertainment. You don't need to know why they're changing clothes and stuff. But there's visual prompts. There's like a TV shot, and it's showing them on the Brits winning this and that, and so you can sort of see its little chart in their career. So very well done film. I am relieved I liked it as much as I did, because I was like, everybody's saying it's good, but I don't like these types of films. And I really, really enjoyed it. It's entertaining, it's funny, it's heartbreaking. But, thankfully, Robbie did get clean, sorted his shit out. And, so therefore we have a happy ending at the end of the film. So I highly encourage you to go see this at the cinema before it goes off. It's probably not going to be on much longer, I think, maybe another week or two, unless, things really pick up. But try and get to see it. And if you have seen it, please let me know what you think. Do you think I'm just talking out of my head? Is this the worst film you've ever seen? Love to know. And especially like the American guys. What I've seen on X is that people are just giving it a go and loving it. Just trying to have it. You don't need to know who Robbie is. And I also find that actually a little bit weird. I've watched things though, about. I love documentaries about bands and things like that, and I don't even need to like the music or particularly know who they are, or even sportsmen. I've watched various things about, NFL footballers and baseball people. I haven't got a clue who they are, but I just find it like it's quite interesting to watch someone's life story, right? If it's meant to be interesting, that's interesting enough they've made a film or a documentary about it, you think, maybe give it a watch. You know, you don't need to know who these people are. And sometimes that's a gateway into, you know, finding out someone's, whether an actor, musician, but you might just discover a whole new world that you didn't know existed, you know, by watching a biography of something that somebody you've never heard of, you know. Like, take a chance, go out, watch it. Trust me on this. So as I always say, please do let me know your thoughts. Whether you're planning on seeing it, not a snowflake's chance in hell. I don't mind, but always please do like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to get the message out on this film, especially. Go see it. It's great fun, a real roller coaster. You'll feel all the emotions. So yeah, that's it. Me and my cold. I'm going to go take some more medicine, obviously. I'm trying to dry up enough so I'm not constantly sniffing and coughing on the stream. Oh yeah. So I will be back with a pop chat. Probably chatting about sort of Severance. We'll be 2 episodes in. I've seen the first episode. Got the second one to watch. Season 3 of From. And whatever's going on in pop chat news. I've dropped a review for section 31. Go check that out if you haven't already. And again, let me know what you think about that as well. So be back soon. You all take care. Hopefully this cold will be gone soon and I will sound like a normal human being. But see you soon, guys. Bye.